Welcome to the Body of Art Show with your host, professional fine artist and holistic art coach, Catherine Lucas. Join Catherine and her expert guests as they share insights and inspiring stories of transformation that will help you develop self-mastery and truly hone your craft. Now, learn to become the masterpiece that you are with your host, Catherine Lucas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Body of Art Show. I'm your host, Catherine Lucas. I'm really happy to be back here with all of you after my hiatus over the past year. It was a little longer than I expected, but the time has proven to be beneficial in many ways. Taking a break from the Body of Art Show and extra teaching activities allowed me to be fully present to my existing clients and essential business while I was addressing a critical family matter. It also gave me the space to step back and reevaluate where I've been and where I needed to go in order to evolve my practice. There are always going to be periods of time in our lives where we need to take a break from some of the things we're doing so that we can actually move forward and evolve. Sometimes outside events will dictate this for us. Other times it may be an internal shift or feeling, and sticking with the same routine just doesn't feel right. My situation was a little bit of both. And ironically, it prepared me for the current times we find ourselves in, where we have no choice in the matter except for how we respond. In today's episode, I want to talk about why taking a break, whether by choice or not, is beneficial for our creative evolution and stepping into our highest potential. I will also introduce my new upcoming podcast show that will complement my current Body of Art podcast show. When you stay tuned through the very end, you'll be able to listen to a pre-release of my first episode of my new show. But now I just want to let you know how much I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy day to be here. I know your time is precious, and I want to give you as much value as I possibly can during our time together so that you leave feeling inspired and empowered. I also appreciate all the wonderful feedback that so many of you have given me about the show. It truly inspires me to be here with you each time and share any experiences, knowledge, or insights that may help you master your passion. I invite you to join me on my Facebook page, Holistic Art Coach Catherine Lucas, and go ahead and like it if you want. On this page, you can ask me questions, share your thoughts, accomplishments you achieved, or even challenges that you're facing. I encourage you to post requests for future topics you would like to have on the show. Here, I'll post tips, inspirational messages, and answer any questions you may have. As always, you can connect with me at my website, bodyofart.net. I put a link to my Facebook page on my website so that it's easy for you to find. If you're interested in finding out more about the artwork I create, you can find me at catherinelucasart.com and on Instagram at catherinelucasart, and follow me there. Now, before we begin, I'd just like to remind you each time that the Body of Art Show is intended for educational, inspirational, and motivational purposes. All thoughts and opinions expressed in this episode are my own reflections on the topic and don't purport to replace any other viewpoints. So absorb what resonates with you today and just release the rest. I'm always offering advice and solutions for staying motivated and productive with your creative work, and taking a break is one of those solutions. It's actually an important part of the job description of being a creator and essential for continued growth. This is not to be confused with whether or not you feel inspired on a particular day in order to be productive. Instead, it's a deliberate decision to take time away from what you're pursuing so that you can recalibrate yourself and gain clarity. It's similar to stepping away from the canvas to see the whole picture so that you can make an adjustments to fine-tune the composition. In this case, the composition is your creative or professional life. Whether it's personal choice or imposed by outside events, in this case current world events, creativity and evolution require incubation periods. Clarity is only attained by going within and becoming still. This not only allows us to move forward in a new way, but also allows us to tap into our own unique resources to navigate change no matter how epic they are. It was by going within and becoming still that I gained the clarity I needed to move forward in a new way. Coincidentally, my renewed clarity will also help me navigate and thrive in these uncertain times that we find ourselves in. My decision to take a break from my creative pursuits was twofold, involving internal and external factors. It was initiated by internal shifts taking place for me with my desire to expand my reach artistically. A family crisis involving the passing of my father last year was the other factor that inaugurated a time out for me in my business and some of my professional artistic pursuits. Here, I had no choice but to suspend my activities. However, in this situation of non-choice, I actually gleaned my highest potential. It emerged from what I had to cope with. While I continued to privately coach a limited number of clients, I took a break from the Body of Art show and some other dimensions of my art business so that I could make room to evolve my writing, which is another aspect of who I am as an artist. It wasn't easy at first, and it felt so counterintuitive to literally not create anything at all for a while. But I stuck with it and let things brew under the surface despite the anxiety I felt. Now, it's interesting to note here that in the same way fear and excitement share the same physical sensation, so does anxiety and transition or growth. Sitting with anxiety and allowing it to process was part of my growth and evolution. After a relatively short period of downtime, I actually felt intellectually and creatively restored. New ideas seemed to generate themselves spontaneously, and I became clear about how I needed to move forward in my artistic pursuits. It felt like I was being led by a higher divine force. In addition to feeling creatively and intellectually renewed, I was able to tap into my own unique creative resources. Here I discovered what I was truly capable of, which allowed me to deal with my family crisis on hand, as well as the ability to navigate and adapt to uncertain times we find ourselves in. I feel confident I will know what to do when the time comes and see new opportunities that may arise during these times with the clarity that I now have. In taking time out and becoming still, we can begin to hear our own unique voice and wisdom. This is not only necessary to evolve creatively, but will be required to pilot our way through our world today. Perhaps we can even look at our current world crisis with imposed restrictions and quarantines as an opportunity to rest and reflect, and ultimately see new opportunities for ourselves and others for the future. Now, as we wrap up today's show, I just want to point out that like life itself, creativity and growth are cyclical, with periods of production followed by periods of non-production. This is where we go within and reflect. It's where new ideas are incubated. Remember, rest is part of the work. With this in mind, it's essential to have some premeditated balance between work and rest. Just like an elite athlete, planned rest periods allow the body to restore itself and come back even stronger. The downtime allows the athlete to continually break through previous walls or barriers and perform on higher levels. It's no different for the artist or creative. In order to create something new or never seen before, a healthy and clear state of mind must first be achieved. On that note, I want to introduce an offspring of the Body of Art show called Animal Muses, which I plan to release in the near future. I have always received messages, insights, and inspiration through the natural world, in particular through encounters with my fellow creatures. It's part of who I am as a person and an artist. In Animal Muses, I'll be sharing these messages and insights through storytelling, as I believe they are not just for me. Nature embodies an awareness that it reveals itself through all living things. By sharing my experiences, I hope to support, empower, and revive the creative inspiration in others. Animals are my teacher and muse, bringing me messages and healing that have allowed me to continue to grow and learn as a person and artist, and ultimately understand my unique soul purpose. This is what I wish to extend to you. Well, I want to thank you all for listening to the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here and would love to hear any comments you have about today's episode. You can do this by subscribing to the Body of Art Show on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn Radio and leave any comments there. I invite you to leave your review and ratings on iTunes as well. Don't forget to join me on my Facebook page, Holistic Art Coach Catherine Lucas, to let me know what you think about today's episode. And remember, you can always connect with me at my website, bodyofart.net. That's spelled BODYOFART.net. Here you can find all of my previous episodes and opt in for my podcast sign up. That way, every show will be sent directly to your inbox so that you don't have to go looking for it each time. Be on the lookout for my new Animal Muses podcast and my future animalmuses.com site. Meanwhile, stay tuned for more insights, advice, and inspiration in the next Body of Art Show episode. Don't forget to stay tuned at the end of the show for the pre-release of my Animal Muses inaugural show. Until next time, I want to leave you with this one masterpiece of insight in regards to possessing mental clarity. The level of creative expression always mirrors the mentality of the creator. On that note, I empower you to take charge of your art and become the masterpiece that you are. And now I want to give you a taste of what's to come with Animal Muses by sharing with you what the American swallow-tailed kite taught me about piloting life's turbulence. Striking in its shape, design, and movement, no other bird possesses such an extraordinary, graceful presence in the air, the American swallow-tailed kite, a bird who is the quintessential expression of all flight. I distinctly remember the day the creature first caught my eye in early February of this year. The large pterodactyl-shaped silhouette sailed effortlessly through the air above the Gulf waters near my home in southwest Florida. Forked tail with bat-like wings spanning 4 feet, this stately creature displayed its complete mastery of the air. I was awestruck as I witnessed the bird weaving elegantly through the superheated thermal layers of the atmosphere. Simultaneously, I felt an underlying sense of urgency to pay attention to this animal's specialized abilities being demonstrated, especially its ability to navigate the invisible layers of resistance in the atmosphere. The American swallowtail kite is a unique and highly specialized instrument of flight. It's adapted to be efficient at high speeds as well as low speeds. The kite's long and tapered wings are the apparatus that lends it the power to fly at high speeds. However, the wing design alone will cause this bird to lose flight at lower speeds. That's where the tail design comes in to compensate for this structural limitation. Broadly splayed, its split tail comes into play as an extended wing. Whereas the kite's longer tapered wings power its speed, they will also disrupt the passage of air over the airfoils at lower speeds by forming eddies along the trailing edge of the wings. This will cause the bird to lose lift at lower speeds and possibly stall. It's the splayed tail that adds width to the airfoil for flight stability at lower speeds. By modifying the shape of its tail, the American swallowtail kite can transform itself from a peregrine falcon, the fastest bird in the world, to a broad-winged condor suspended almost motionless in the air. Since each wing and each side of the split tail can function independently, the swallowtail kite possesses the faculty to micromanage the air it moves through. Like an expert martial artist, this bird can redirect opposing forces to work in their favor, turning resistance into assistance. Simply put, flight is a matter of playing two natural forces against each other, air pressure and gravity. The flight of this amazing, shape-shifting creature is the fusion of bird and wind. The mastery of all aspects of itself working in unison allows it to master the wind. And this is what struck a sense of urgency in me that day as I witnessed the bird sailing over the Gulf waters. The message was in the masterful demonstration of flight and the buffeting gusts as the storm was brewing behind it. That storm is now here. We now exist in a new atmosphere and have to learn how to pilot our way through the gigantic whirlwind of global chaos. In this larger-than-life tornado, we'll be experiencing strong headwinds, tailwinds, and sidewinds. This is where we'll discover our highest potential, as we'll be forced to tap into our own unique resources to learn how to maneuver in this new world. We're all basically in quarantine now, and almost all activity has stopped. But here's where the opportunity lies. In this place of stillness, the awareness of our unique soul's blueprint may emerge and lead us on the path of self-mastery. And then, like the kite, we'll be able to maneuver through any atmospheric conditions and thrive. So embrace this time you have to go within to tap into your own unique resources. You may be surprised at the highly specialized instrument that you actually are. As I always say, become the masterpiece that you are. Remember to be on the lookout for the release of the Animal Muses podcast show in the near future. And may you have a great flight.
You've been listening to The Body of Art Show, hosted by Catherine Lucas. The Body of Art Show has been brought to you by Body of Art Enterprises Incorporated, your source for individualized art mentorship and coaching. Our mission is to educate and support aspiring artists to step into their own personal power and master their passion. To learn more, go to bodyofart.net.